Okay. So these are the topics which we have covered in the last class. Considering all the intrinsic impedance of the medium, we have been derived the expression for electric field and the magnetic field. Okay. So before that, in the previous class, if you can remember, we have derived the expression for attenuation constant and for the phase shift constant, which was the quantity depending upon the medium parameter as well as the parameters where the fields are being generated. Okay, like this. So the attenuation constant alpha was having the expression omega root over mu epsilon by 2 into 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon whole square minus 1, right? And the expression of phase shift constant beta was same, it was mu epsilon by 2 into root over 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon whole square plus 1, right? So it is depending upon the conducting property of the medium as well as other distributed parameters. So if we consider that sigma is 0, the consideration with respect to the lossless medium. So for lossless medium, what we know, sigma is 0, conductivity is completely 0. It is for lossless and for free space, sigma is 0. So for this case, what we know, if sigma is 0, then 1 minus 1, so our alpha will become 0, that is attenuation constant is completely 0. So while the wave is propagating on such a medium where sigma is completely 0, for that case we can say yes, attenuation is completely 0. But the beta is having certain finite value, because 1 plus 1, some finite value will come for the beta, either sigma is 0 or not. So the quantity beta, it is a measure of the phase shift per unit length. The quantity beta is a measure of the phase shift per unit length. As I said, it is having the unit radian per meter, and it is called phase constant or phase shift or phase constant. So what we know, this value beta, it is having the relation with phase velocity and frequency of the medium. So what is that? Beta is omega by Vp. Vp is the phase velocity of that medium. Is for a particular frequency component, at what speed that particular frequency component is changing its phase, and we are having the relation with lambda, it is as twice pi by beta. Lambda is twice pi by beta. Now the expression which we have derived for this electric field and magnetic field, that was like this: e to the power minus alpha z, by considering a lossy medium, cos omega t minus beta z. Let us consider it is having the x component, and same for the magnetic field. Let us consider it is E naught by, it is having certain angle, so angle will come with this cos, so e to the power minus alpha z cos of, it is theta eta, right? So what we can write, omega t minus beta z minus theta eta, it is having the component y. Okay, so from this two expression, what we can notice is that this E and H are out of phase by theta eta. The phase difference between this E and H, it is theta eta at any point of time, at any instant of time, due to the complex intrinsic impedance of the medium. Okay, E and H are out of phase by theta eta at any instant of time due to the complex intrinsic impedance of the medium. Okay, so what we can say? We can say E leads H or H lags E by theta eta. E leads H or H lags E by angle theta eta. So while we are having the propagation on the medium, let us consider it is having certain propagation within a lossy medium, then we are having the phase difference between this E and H. Okay, now if you take the ratio of, I am just writing, taking the ratio of the magnitude of the conduction current density JC. Let us, I have previously written J. For better understanding, I am just writing right now, it is JC, conduction current density, to the displacement current density JD in a lossy medium, that is the magnitude JC by JD. So if we have been going with the phasor form, we need to write like this. So what is this JC conduction current? It is sigma E and JD is del D by del T. So del T, that will be J omega and D is epsilon E. So what we can write? Sigma ES, JD was del D by del T. So D is epsilon E. So if we have been writing in terms of phasor form, del T will become J omega, D is epsilon ES. So that is what we will write here, epsilon ES. So this one can be written as sigma by omega epsilon, which is tan theta. So if you can remember, on the first day while we have been started the wave propagation, we have been defined our medium with respect to this quantity sigma by omega epsilon, if you can remember. So what is this? Tan theta. Tan theta is sigma by omega epsilon. So what is our theta eta, if you can remember? Theta eta was tan of twice theta eta was sigma epsilon, sigma by omega epsilon. Tan of twice theta eta or theta eta is half of tan inverse sigma epsilon. So what we can write here? This theta is twice of that theta. Right? If we have been cancelling this tan in the both sides, sigma by omega epsilon. So we can write this theta as twice of theta eta. So this tan theta, it is very important parameter of the medium, that is known as loss tangent. Tan theta, it is called loss tangent of the medium. So whenever any particular medium is specified, we need to mention its loss tangent, its theta loss tan theta value. So something like that, So if we are having conduction current in this way, that is JCS. If we are having displacement current in this way, then this angle will define the loss tangent of the medium. So tan of this angle will give you the loss tangent of the medium. So tan theta is the loss tangent, so theta is represented as loss angle of the medium, loss angle of the medium. So from this, how we can define if we are having this loss tangent? So obviously we can very easily, if you can remember, we have been specified our medium with respect to this. These are the different specification of the medium. If it is a lossless medium, sigma is less than omega epsilon. If it is a good conductor, sigma is greater than omega epsilon. So obviously, if you can just think, for a good conductor, the medium should have greater conductivity. So obviously sigma should be greater. For a lossless dielectric, sigma value is less, so sigma should be smaller. So now also you can able to identify how this sigma is greater, because sigma is coming from the conduction current. So conduction current obviously will be greater for a good conductor. Conduction current will be greater for a good conductor, and displacement current will be better for a good dielectric or lossless dielectric. So that's why we say that a medium, I'm just writing here only, a medium is a good, it is lossless, we can say it is lossless. Good means, I'm just writing good means lossless, perfect dielectric if tan theta is very small. So what does it mean? Sigma less than omega epsilon, then only this tan theta will be small. Or good conductor if tan theta is very large. So for this case, sigma should be greater than omega epsilon. So this is important thing to remember. Depending upon this loss tangent, we need to specify our medium. So if loss tangent is small, then it is a good, or good means lossless or perfect, we can say. So depending upon this omega epsilon and this sigma will specify. So a medium, if it is having loss tangent small, we can say it is in good dielectric. If loss tangent is higher, we can say it is a good conducting properties having for this medium. So depending upon our requirement, we need to choose a particular medium, for which medium we should go for a particular operation. Either we need a good dielectric medium, or either we need a good conducting medium for better propagation in the medium. Fine. Now if we have been looking into this two expression, this alpha and beta, attenuation constant as well as this phase shift constant, they are not only depending upon the medium parameter, they are been depending upon one more parameter which is not at all dependent on the medium parameters. That parameter or that quantity, it is known as omega. That quantity, it is known as omega. So omega is not at all a parameter related with the medium. This omega is related with the source. The source from which the signal is generated, what is the frequency component is within that source, or the signal which is generated, which frequency component is with that signal. So here also, if omega is having different value, for that value also our constant and phase shift constant will vary. So it is not at all depending upon this epsilon or sigma, it is also depending either mu, it is also depending upon this omega. Omega is the frequency component related to the signal which has been propagating on the medium. So what is the frequency component related with that signal? Depending upon that also the attenuation constant and phase shift constant will change. So we can say a medium which is a good conductor, that may, for let us consider this omega is a very small for low frequency operation. So for a low frequency operation, if we can go with this expression also, for low frequency operation tan theta is higher. For a particular medium, we have been fixed the medium, let us consider our free space or any lossless dielectric. So for that case, sigma and epsilon is fixed, we can't change, but this tan theta will also change if frequency is changed. So for low frequency, if we have been going with this expression, for low frequency tan theta will be higher. So what we can say, for a particular medium, let us consider for that medium the omega, sigma and epsilon is fixed. So if on that medium we have been operating with low frequency signal, so for that low frequency signal the medium will be acting as good conducting medium. That medium may be regarded as a good conductor. Now for that medium again, if we have been operating with higher frequency, if omega is increasing, so for that case tan theta will decrease. So for higher frequency we can say the same medium will act as a good dielectric. For low frequency the medium will act as a good conductor. For higher frequency the medium will act as a good dielectric. So this loss tangent value, it is not only depending upon the medium parameter, it is also dependent upon the frequency of operation. At what frequency we have been operating, or the signal generated from the source, it is related with which frequency component. Fine. So this is the concept about the lossy medium, whatever we have been studied till now. Let us go with a lossless dielectric. So obviously for this, whatever the expressions we have derived till now, on this if we have been applying our particular concept, that is the parameter, these parameters we can easily find out what are the expression of the electric field and magnetic field, either it is attenuation constant, phase shift constant, either it is intrinsic impedance of the medium, whatever it is. So depending upon all those parameters for a specified medium, once we have derived for the lossy medium, we can apply all the conditions and we can easily derive the different conditions of the field, either it is electric field or magnetic field, and intrinsic impedance, attenuation constant, phase shift constant, all those things we can easily derive. So lossy medium we have been derived. After that, by applying all those conditions we can easily find out what are the different field on those mediums. So let us go with plane waves in lossless dielectric. So in a lossless dielectric, what we know? What we have been assumed earlier, that sigma will become less than omega epsilon. That is we know, because for the dielectric sigma should be less, or what we can say, sigma approximately becomes 0. It's supposed to have certain medium parameter epsilon naught epsilon r. It's supposed to have mu is equals to mu naught mu r. Okay, so for a lossy medium we have already derived the value of alpha omega root over mu epsilon by 2 into root over 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon whole square minus 1, and beta is omega root over mu epsilon by 2 into 1 plus sigma by omega epsilon whole square plus 1. Okay, so obviously sigma approximately becomes 0 for lossless. So let us put sigma is equals to 0. So for this case we can say alpha will become 0 or tends to 0. For a good dielectric we can say definitely alpha will become 0. What will be the value of beta? If we put sigma is equals to 0, so it is 1 plus 1, it is root over 1 plus 1 2, so 2 will get cancelled, it will be omega root over mu epsilon. What will be phase velocity? omega by beta. So beta will get cancelled, it will be 1 by root over mu epsilon, right? What will be the condition for intrinsic impedance? It is root over j omega mu sigma plus j omega epsilon, right? So sigma will get 0, then we should have mu by epsilon. It is having a 0 angle. So for this case, lossless dielectric, there is no phase difference between the E and H. So what we can say, thus E and H are in time phase with each other. Okay. Next case, which was plane waves in free space. In free space. So obviously for free space, conductivity will become 0. It is having absolute value. So obviously for this case, alpha will become 0. Here I becomes 0 for the lossless dielectric, but it will approximately becomes 0, or we can say tends to 0. Attenuation constant will not become 0, absolutely not become 0, it will tends to 0, very small. But for this case, yes, it will become 0. It is omega root over mu epsilon. So here this one is mu naught epsilon naught, absolute value. So it is omega by c. Why? Because c is 1 by root over mu naught epsilon naught. So if we put this value, absolute permeability and permittivity, you will get c, right? So what is the value of phase velocity here? Same, c, because it will be omega beta. So beta is omega root over mu epsilon, so it will become c. Any doubt with this? If we put the numerical value of this mu naught epsilon naught, it will become the speed of the light. So on the free space, waves which are been propagating, they are having the speed of light. Phase velocity is having the speed of light. So omega by beta, if we put beta here, that is beta is omega root over mu epsilon naught, mu naught epsilon naught. So 1 by mu naught epsilon naught, it is same as c. So EM waves travel in free space at the speed of light. Or we can say light itself is the manifestation of EM wave. Light itself is some kind of EM wave. So for this case, when the wave is been propagating on the free space, what will be the intrinsic impedance? It is j omega mu. It will become mu naught sigma plus j omega epsilon naught. So obviously this sigma will become 0. So that will be mu naught by epsilon naught. So if we put this numerical value, it will come out as 120 pi or approximately 377 ohm. So it is the intrinsic impedance of free space. Of free space, right? So what will be the angle related with that? 0. So the expression for this electric field and magnetic field, it will be E0 cos omega t minus beta z. Let us consider a component. H is E naught by eta naught. Let us consider it is eta naught for the free space. So eta naught cos omega t minus beta z ay, right? So we can say the unit vectors along E field, it is ax, ae, which is represents unit vector along E field. For our case, it is x. AH, it is the unit vector along H field. What will be the other direction? Let us consider AK, because Z is the other direction, the direction at which the wave is propagating. So unit vector along direction of wave propagation. So what is the relation? If you take the cross product between, let us consider AE cross AH, that will give us the direction of wave propagation. So if we draw like this, it is X, it is Y, it is Z. So we are having the cos component, so we can say this is the cos component of electric field. So these are the different amplitude. For the electric field. So what will be the direction of H? H will be in the opposite direction. So I am just taking another ink. So this is the direction of H field. Like this. Like this. Okay, so this is what it will represent. This one will become electric field. It is, let us consider this value is for t is equals to 0. So we can say the maximum amplitude will be E naught cos omega t will become 0. So it is minus beta z Ex, and for this case at the origin it will become H is equals to H naught cos, H naught is E naught by eta naught cos minus beta z Ay, and this is the direction of wave propagation. Okay, so for this case, if you have been looking into this diagram, you can find this both E and H field are everywhere on the z-axis. It is normal to the direction of wave propagation, that is in the AK direction, AK unit direction. At every point on the z-axis, it is normal to the direction of wave propagation. That means field lies in a plane that is transverse or orthogonal to the direction of wave propagation. So if you can just think, this z-axis, it is perpendicular to both x and y. In the x direction we are having the electric field, in the y direction we are having the magnetic field. So both of the fields, either it is electric field or magnetic field, they are perpendicular to the direction of wave propagation, or direction of wave propagation is normal to the plane. That plane is xy plane. On that xy plane, the electric field and magnetic field, both of them are lying on that plane. So if we have been taking a plane on the origin where electric field and magnetic field are lying and the direction of propagation is normal, we can say that plane is a transverse plane, or the direction of wave propagation is normal to that plane. So this kind of waves where electric field and magnetic fields are been lying on a plane and a direction of propagation is normal to that plane, that transverse plane, this kind of waves are known as TEM wave. As I said earlier, transverse electromagnetic wave, transverse EM wave. Why? Because the direction of propagation is normal to the transverse plane, and on that plane electric field and magnetic field, both of them are parallel, or both of them are lying on that plane. Wherever you have been taking on the z-axis, at any point on the z-axis, always the direction of propagation will remain as a normal. So you can say this kind of waves are known as transverse electromagnetic wave.
Sir, can you explain what is transverse electromagnetic?
Let us consider a xy plane, something like this, a xy plane. Okay, xy plane, right? This is the xy plane. So on this xy plane, z-axis is normal. I'm just putting this one like this. Now just think, you are having this xy plane. On this xy plane, z-axis is normal. X plane, x-axis and y-axis, both of them are lying on that plane because they are parallel to that plane. x direction it is signifying the electric field vector, y direction it is signifying the magnetic field vector, right? It is signifying the magnetic. So I am saying the direction of propagation is normal to this transverse plane, and on that transverse plane all of the field, either it is electric field or magnetic field, both of them are lying or they are parallel to this plane. Now if we have been taking another plane, not at all at the origin, some other location, let us consider z equals to 1, z equals to 2, so same thing will remain. We can have a separate plane on z equals to 1. On that plane again we are having the x component, that is electric field, we are having the y component, that is magnetic field, and again the z direction will signify the direction of wave propagation. So we can say a transverse plane exists where both of the electric and magnetic fields are lying or they are parallel on that plane, and the direction of propagation is normal to that plane. That's why this kind of waves where this scenario is been coming into picture or this relation maintains, that kind of waves are known as transverse electromagnetic wave. Transverse electromagnetic wave, because fields are lying on a transverse plane and the direction of wave propagation is normal to this plane. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Now another thing, we have been said that it is transverse electromagnetic wave. Now for any case, let us consider for a certain condition arises where both of this E naught and H naught is having the same value, that is electric field and magnetic field is having the same magnitude on this transverse plane. Just try to understand. Right now we have been talking about that electric field and magnetic field, both of them are lying on this transverse plane. Now on that plane, either it is at z equals to 0 or z equals to 1 or z equals to 2. Anywhere if this plane exists, this kind of waves are known as transverse electromagnetic wave. Now for any location, either it is z equals to 0 or z equals to 1 or z equals to 2, whatever the value, at any plane, if both of the electric field and magnetic field is having the same magnitude, then this kind of TEM wave known as uniform plane wave. Uniform plane wave. Why? Because on the transverse plane both of the electric and magnetic field maintains same magnitude. They maintains same magnitude. Then we can say this kind of waves are known as uniform plane wave. Fine. Any question on this? Any doubt? Any doubt? If it is having this kind of scenario, then we can say it is transverse electromagnetic wave. If on that transverse plane both of the electric field and magnetic field maintain same magnitude, then we can say it is a uniform plane wave.